Okay, folks, in the video, here's a reaction to TYT's their reaction to Tracey Chapman's Fast Car. And this guy, the country singer Luke Combs, he won an award for this. See him, I guess, best song or something like that. He won an award for this song, and so they're doing a take on it. There was a controversy that actually it's kind of, they say that it's basically these two columnists, entertainment columnists, one from the Washington Post and there's another one from another paper, saying that this is kind of she didn't get that much credit, Chapman, because the country, she wouldn't get that much credit. I mean, because she's a black woman, so that's racism, you know, especially in the country music. I mean, for country artists, black queer, she didn't, although it wasn't a country song, it was back in the 1988 or whatever, but it was a folk song, but it didn't get that much credit. But she did get credit in the larger, as a general song in the popular music. She got the credit, Tracey Chapman. But as a country song, she didn't get that. She didn't get any credit at all as a country song. But they're saying that the newspaper, entertainment credit reporter, saying that, and she's saying people in the I guess other people are saying that she didn't get it. You know, I mean, she should have got more credit. And this guy just all of a sudden he sang he did the cover of the song and he got the credit. He won an award for it. And they say that's racism. And probably it is kind of, but for the country music though. And Anna was saying that she was very popular back then. Yeah, it was popular, but not for a country music song. I mean, that's the point. And there's a racism. And I read the article on my phone for what she was saying. And so anyways, the point of this, my reaction to this, is because this is like could I go on talking about racism? This is gonna hurt racism, like real racism against black people. Against, they really thinking, well, I guess people of color, but the black people, they're mainly saying black people, and that I mean, I know that's 443,000 views this video has, but but nobody really cares about this. I mean, it's like some other takes they make, and some other stuff they do. It's supposed to be like this is like reverse racism. That's what they're saying. This is like a meme to them. This is a meme. This is like a reverse racism. Because they have other takes like this. I mean, even with the biker, the woman biker in New York, tried to steal the kid's bike. The kids paid for the bike. That whole incident. She came down on the woman with the bike, of course, the white woman. And they had the receipts. They've seen that they bought the bike. They rented the bike. Right? Yeah, they rent the bike. You rent the bike. The rental bikes that, you know what I mean? Yeah, but that sort of thing like that. All this reverse. It's a whole meme. It's like along again with the trans issue. With trans people in sports. Sure, it's something. Some cases it's a big thing. Some like maybe some colleges they have, but overall it's not a big thing. They made it into an issue in the so-called culture war. You see, they're tired of the culture war, but they're feeding into the culture war, doing all this bullshit. This is not a big thing, although they got 43,000. This thing with the country singer, 43,000 views are mostly right-wingers. I don't think left-wingers don't care about this. You know what I mean? This is not an issue. Like, if it's something like somebody's claiming, like, if someone's being cancelled because of racism, maybe, that's a big thing. They actually did some shows on that. Someone being cancelled. If somebody's being, they're actually right on that. If someone's being cancelled and they said some racist thing in the past and they change their views and they're being cancelled for that, I think they're actually right on that. And if somebody's making false, he's a black person lying about, they get beaten by the cops, they're lying about it. But yeah, there's some incidents like that, but they make it up. But I just thought of that. They can't be cancelled because they're saying the racism, saying racist stuff in the past. And there's a context. Or if you wear blackface, like and you apologize for what you did. Some people wore blackface in the past. Even our Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, did, but he apologized for that. So if you do that, that's terrible. You apologize. I mean, it's terrible, but you did it in school or whatever, at Halloween, or you're a kid, you do stupid things. But you get punished years later. They're right about that. That's what they talked about before. But something like this, but there's other stuff that they being triggered by. And especially her, she's being triggered by it. I mean, you being called a racist, you being triggered by that. Maybe you are. I mean, man. But yeah. Let's look what here's what the.
Now, the Washington Post took the lead on this, arguing that as a black woman, Chapman's 1988 song didn't receive the accolades that a white male country singer is enjoying today. But a closer look shows you that this narrative is complete and utter BS. In fact, some of you might be too young to remember what the 90s was like or what kind of music was played on the radio over and over.
As a country song, she didn't get the credit. That's what they're saying. You're actually wrong. As a country song, because in a country chart, this guy won a Grammy award for it. You know what I mean? Sure, as she won. Well, you'll see. She won three Emmys. I mean, 3 Grammys. Sorry, three Grammys, I think, for it. And but as a country song. But that's the whole articles. The articles talking about a country song, and he's talking about. I read it, and see, I read the whole article. I read more than she has, kind of. I guess I read they're talking about the racism in the country music. That's what it's about. So she hasn't got the credit as a country song.
And over again, but I assure you that Tracey Chapman songs were celebrated, were played quite a bit, and I'm glad that this story broke because it's giving me an opportunity to listen to and remember how much I loved her music. Now, I want to read you a few excerpts from Emily Yar's piece in the Washington Post about this. She writes, to quite a few people, this is cause for yet another celebration in Combs's whirlwind journey as the genre's reigning megastar with 16 consecutive #1 hits. But it has also prompted a wave of complicated feelings among some listeners and in the Nashville music community. Did it? Okay, well, why? Well, she continues by explaining that although many are thrilled to see Fast Car back in the spotlight and a new generation discovering Chapman's work, it's clouded by the fact that as a Black queer woman, Chapman, 59, would have almost zero chance of that achievement herself in country music. Now, Emily Yar is specific there by noting,
isn't she right though? It's true though. So why you're just stating the fact?
Country music. But Tracey Chapman's music was not in the country genre, and given the genre it was in, it was not only celebrated, it was awarded quite a bit. So just to give you a few notes.
Yeah. But as a country song, it wasn't. But it wasn't played in the country charts. It could have been back then. I mean, and they could have. They didn't. Back you see, they were against like certain artists back then, black or well minority artists, the country music. There always been a kind of a racism there. But they're talking about in the country music. You won a country award for this song. They're talking specifically. They're saying country music in the country music area. They're not saying she didn't get credit. I don't think they're saying she didn't get any credit, like in the pop charts or in the other vast area, especially in the genre. She got popular in her genre, but she's not saying she didn't get credit in the country music. I don't think she's saying that in the article. I think this is about the country music. What they're talking about, so it's not the whole.
Chapman released her debut album in 1988, and that was the album that Fast Car was in. And the album was certified 6-time platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. The album also received 6 Grammy nominations, and she went on to win 3 that year. So
she won 3 Grammys. Okay.
3 categories that she won the Grammys in included Best New Artist, Best Contemporary Folk Album, Best Female Pop Vocal Performance for Fast Car specifically. So it was definitely celebrated. Everyone loved her music.
I was right. We're celebrated, but not in the country. She's talking about the country country charts wasn't celebrated. That's how the article was talking about. It wasn't. It didn't. I mean, she's not saying it wasn't celebrated in the like in the pop charts or in the folk charts. It was a very popular song. Plus for the country, as a country in that country genre, it wasn't back then. All the other genres, it was a very popular song, but except for the country music, and they're saying that as a racism back then. They're talking about the racism in the country, like the country industry, country music industry. It's still kind of a racism. That's what the article is talking about. They're not talking about, I don't know. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Right? But she's saying that, she's saying that, I mean, it's not,
But Tanner Davenport, who is the co-director of the Black Opry, says the immediate success of Combs's Fast Car kind of just proves that when you put a white face on black art, it seems to be consumed a lot easier. That's just complete revisionist history. I have even more information about how much her music was celebrated, rightfully so.
I read the article kind of, and that guy is that organization is a country. It's black artists and the entertainers in the country music. It's like organization in the country music, right? It was a black organization, and they talk about country music, how the racism is in the country music. You know what I mean? But he's talking about the country music. Yeah, because he's right, a black face, a white face, and it does look better. He's right, though.
And what is frustrating about this is how it's fabricating and manufacturing a needless...
We've all picked up a few "how did I get here" stories. The ones where, out of the blue,
this race narrative.
Yeah, so guys, did that happen in the past? Definitely, right? So
Fabricating a race narrative. It's not a fabricated. She's talking about the country. The organization is talking about country music, racism in the country music. That's what they're talking about. That's the whole. This is the whole thing. I mean, so why are you getting triggered by it? I mean, whole thing is not a big deal. Bringing this up anyways as a topic. Nobody cares about this. I mean, maybe the right wingers, maybe the racist audience, some are her racist, audience, I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say racist audience, maybe they're not. But some of the right wingers will love this. You're just triggering them, make them wild up. But this is a non-thing. This is like reverse racism crap. Bullshit. I mean, this. And what they're gonna? What should they say about
a lot of songs from the black community, and so there's a heated debate as to whether he gave proper credit, and most people think he did not, right? But some say he did. So that's for musical historians, etc. But is it a fact that black artists would come up with songs, beats, etc., and they would not take off because of racism and being blocked on the radio, etc., and then white artists would do the same thing and it would take off like a rocket, and then they would keep the money and the black artists wouldn't get any of it? Definitely. Look into music history. That happened, and then that rains down on us through the generations, etc. So it's not like it's necessarily completely eradicated. Now, having said that, is today the same as back then? No, of course not. It's preposterous to say that. Are there successful?
It's not today. Then in this point, it is the same. just for that, for this topic, yeah, it is the same. And on this point, it is.
African American musicians, are we having this conversation? Do people understand how mental that conversation is? I think Beyonce's okay. I think Jay-Z's doing all right. Should I go on? The greatest entertainers, musicians, singers, right, we have now are almost universally black. Like, that's not true. There's Taylor Swift, there's others, right? But they're certainly well represented. And then this sleight of hand in country music. But wait a minute, would George Michael have been well received in country music? And he's a white male. No, probably not, because he did Careless Frickin' Whisper. Okay, and it's not country music.
Which was a great song.
Right. Would Ricky Martin be well received
Oh my God.
in country music? Probably not. But is it because he's Latino? No, because it's a different kind of music.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that there's no racism in country music. I'm not saying that there's no discrimination. But using this as an example is
Actually, that's a great point. My Careless Whisper. Okay, he's gay. But not the same thing. This is more like a country song. It's different. It's not this. It's a bad example actually. Cause this is close to like you could call this like a country song. I mean, Fast Car, Tracey Chapman, even. And she was kind of like country. It sounded like country. I mean, and George Michael, I mean, not the same thing. You're wrong, Jake. I mean, it's a bad example.
it hurts your cause because it sounds ridiculous. Tracey Chapman is a legend. Nobody thinks she's not getting. I don't know anyone who doesn't think Tracey Chapman has gotten enough credit because people give her tons of credit, and rightfully so.
Are we ever going to get to a...
Yeah, really. In this case, in the country, she's talking about the country music. I mean, about the country music, not getting credit. But no one is saying she's not. And they're not saying she's not. It was only in the country genre.
point in the country where white female reporters aren't just going to like fabricate a race narrative in a perfectly lovely story that like Tracey Chapman herself, who is a very private individual who does not speak to the media, likes to keep to herself. In fact, you know, previous statements made it abundantly clear that she liked to separate out her music career from her personal life, which is why she doesn't give a lot of statements to the press. But she did give a statement to the press in regard to this story. And she's super stoked. Want to know why she's super stoked? Because she has publishing rights to this music. And because she has publishing rights to this music, this crossover cover has made her a lot of money. A lot of money. So let's go to... I'm going to go to other elements here, but I want to like skip ahead to what she says. This is graphic 8. I never expected to find myself on the country charts, but I'm honored to be there. I'm happy for Luke and his success and grateful that...
Yeah. But she's a class individual. She has class. She's respected. You know what I mean? I think she's a humble individual, and now she's getting paid. So, but hey, she's getting paid, and she's a humble, you know, and she has class. She's not gonna you know what I mean? You know, some other artists might not take too kind to it. You know what I mean? If it was some other artists, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Even though they were getting paid, they may not take too kind to this, but she's classy individual. So
new fans have found and embraced Fast Car.
Wow, she sounds really oppressed.
Right. And let's go to the next graphic. So Combs' version has generated at least $500,000 in global publishing.
that's not the point. But
royalties, Billboard estimates, with the bulk going to Chapman, who owns both the writers and publishers' share of the song.
Now, if Tracey Chapman wasn't getting the proper credit financially as well as other ways, then I'm 100% on your side. And I go, why? She's created the song. There's no question. This guy's doing a cover song, right? But she's 100% on board ideologically. Like, oh yeah, sure, people do covers of that song. Oh, it's taken off again, and it's on country charts, which it wasn't before. That's great, she says. What, are we disagreeing with her?
No.
How insane is that?
We should be aggrieved on her behalf, and just fabricate.
no. No, they have a right to their opinion. So what's the big deal? They have a right to their opinion, and they're right, actually. You know what I mean? She didn't get the credit. It was about the country music in the industry. And she should have got the credit there. That's what they're saying back then on the country charts. We all know that she got the credit in the mainstream music. You know what I mean? The pop charts. The pop, yeah. But, yeah. We know that. And that's what they're saying. She should get the... So they're pointing out the racism in the country music. That's what they're talking about. Even that organization. So they're not saying that, you know what I mean? And this is, I don't know what's the big deal if they speak out about it. And no one's being, so what? So, you know what I mean? It's not gonna, so nobody, yeah. I don't know what's the big deal. Well, they have a right to write a story about it like this. Tell them that there's the fact. Maybe that's, and the guy in the organization, they were pretty upset with this. That organization. I think the Black Country entertainers and writers. You know what I mean? So they're just pointing that out. So what's the big deal? They're pointing that out. And this is not a big thing. Shouldn't be a big story anyways, but.
A drama and a conflict that doesn't exist.
What did you want Luke Combs to do? Not do it? So then Tracey Chapman wouldn't have $500,000 right now? I don't get it. And guys, so the main point here is I don't know this particular report. I don't even know what her ethnicity is, but that's not the point. I'm sure that it's bubbling up.
I think she's white, actually. Emily Yar is white. Or she's Latino, I don't know.
I know some people are gonna get super mad at this, but we don't have to make everything racial. Not every single thing has to be, okay, that we're gonna find racism here, even though the black...
So it is racism, man. The point of this video I'm making is to show that this is again, reverse racism crap. I mean, sort of. It's like a reverse racism. Like they're doing it, they're trying to find, everything is like, it's kind of like you're being racist, to point out racism. That's what it is. You point out racism, so she's being racist. She's talking up. So he race baiting. So that's like they're race baiting. It's like for no reason.
Artist is saying she's thrilled and she loves that her music is going to country music fans, and it's not just about the money she's making. She likes that it's being introduced to more people.
Exactly.
And it's from a black artist. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing.
So I want to go to her tweet, the Washington Post reporter's tweet about this, because even Twitter felt the need to correct, or at least provide some context to make it clear how popular Tracey Chapman and her music was. So she writes, as Luke Combs's hit cover of Tracey Chapman's Fast Car dominates the country charts, it's bringing up some complicated emotions in fans and singers who know that Chapman, as a queer black...
Really, Twitter's gonna do this? Or some other stuff they don't correct? Why are they correcting this, you know? You know, so every other stuff they never correct. When the vaccine and everything. All these conspiracy theories, the Twitter never corrects. Why is that?
Woman would have an almost zero chance at that achievement herself. But
Except she just did.
she won 3 Grammys for that specific album. And
they're saying that in the country field, that's what they're talking about. I don't think they're not acknowledging that she didn't. It's all in the country field. The country music, that's what they're talking about. So why especially Anna's been triggered by this.
one of those Grammys was in regard to that specific song. And by the way, Twitter felt the need to add context to it, writing that Fast Car by Tracey Chapman was nominated for 3 Grammys or Grammy Awards. Nominated for 6, not 3. She won 3, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year. She won for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance and Best New Artist. And she has 7 other nominations for Grammy Awards and 2 wins.
And this whole thing of you can't, so Luke Combs would have no chance of one of his original songs breaking through in the smooth jazz category. Is that racist against white people? No, it's just the wrong category. And in this case, it's actually Tracey Chapman's song that
smooth jazz category. Well, I don't know. He probably wouldn't be denied that though. I don't know. And it's not the same thing. No, not the same thing, Jink. She dealing with a power structure, a white power structure, and it's a different dynamic.
did break through in country music. Just happened to be sung by Luke Combs, which he was perfectly happy with. All right,
yeah, it had to be a white guy to do it. That's the point. It has to be a white artist. That's their point.
Just get it. But if there's some in the community who are like, nope, this is definitely racial, and even though no one is aggrieved, there's no victim, there's no nothing, and everybody's thrilled with how this has gone, we're going to call it racial anyway.
I mean, it's racial, but the point of this is, this whole thing is like a pattern with TYT. All these, this is like a cultural war, part of the cultural war, and that everything is, this reverse racism theme they're doing. I mean, anything like something like this, little racism. If anybody cries racism, it's not real racism. It is racism. You can not say it's not racism. You don't think it's racism? Yeah, I mean, I guess not for Chapman, but like for the organization, the black organization, black country people, and they're saying that it's important to them because they represent black artists. In the country music, and they're thinking it's important to them. I think. I mean, they're trying to fight racism in the country music. That's the whole point of them. I'm sure Chapman, she gets credit. You know what I mean? They're not saying that that's the whole thing is about. It's not about. She never get credit in the vast music, in the pop charts. I mean, in the vast music diaspora, she got a lot of credit. But That's the point. The point is the country music. And there's racism. I don't understand what they're saying. There's racism there. Racism and the anti-gay, you know what I mean, thing there going on. And that's all they're saying. That's why is it a big deal? I mean, the point of bringing up this story is this is a nothing burger. Nobody cares about. Well, they care about. I guess people in that. They're writing that people in that field. They care about it. And that is very important to them. So why you know what I mean? I think the black and the queer in that field is important to them. You know what I mean? It's a big deal to them. I don't know why you be getting triggered by it. You know what I mean? You're going against that. You're getting all this rant doesn't mean this old rant. So now you're doing against you start you're stoking more racism. In actual fact, against I say black people. That's what you're doing, and people of color in a sense. You know, I mean, this is not a big story.
Have at it, Hoss, but you lose credibility every time you do something like this.
Yeah, you lose credibility and you needlessly, I think, expand divisions in the country over nonsense, over totally fabricated conflicts that don't need to be fabricated at all. If the two parties here are happy with the situation, if Tracey Chapman is celebrating this, and she's really the individual here who, if anything, would be aggrieved if there was a problem in place, why?
It's not about her. It's about the whole point is you're talking about the racism in the country. That's the whole point of that. I think that's the whole point of the article. And other black artists growing up in that field. I don't think it's really about Tracey Chapman in a sense. And this so it is racism there. But this is not stoking division. It's nonsense. Actually, you bringing this up as a rant, stoking division. That's what you're doing. But I think what it's doing is it's giving them more views, giving them a lot of clicks, especially the right or the people on the right, the white people, like some white folks. You know what I mean? Who kind of again maybe some maybe black folks too, who are conservatives. Some of them, they stoke them up. You're stoking division on the other side. That's what you're doing. You're making this an issue. It's not an issue. Making this a rant. This is a non-issue. You're right, this is a non-issue. But it's racism, but this shouldn't and this is wrong. This is like racism is racism. Even if it's small like this, you should call it out. I mean, like I said before, people, if it's like someone's being canceled for saying like a racist thing years ago, and now they're being canceled like from a job or a content creator being canceled. I mean, and there's people saying the N-word on the internet, white people saying the N-word. And the ones done about it, they're not being canceled or nothing. I mean, that goes on. What do you think about that? No one's talking about that. Maybe that's okay, I guess. And when you speak out about something like this, you know what I mean, gets, you can say nothing about, I mean, black people, you can't complain, black people, like black people being oppressed on or being discriminated against, you can't complain. Oh, you're racist. You can't if you see something, you're racist. It was anti-racism, reverse racism. Like I said, this is all a reverse racism thing these guys are doing. I mean, so he can't say nothing, he can't speak, so he shouldn't speak out or anything. Little racism, we shouldn't speak out on. Only thing that's major. If you get beat up by the cops, you speak out against that, but not something like this. You get discrimination. Even in the Grammys, she's saying about Beyonce. There's a story about Beyonce not winning the #1 song of the year. And he made a story about that, and she's saying that some writer saying that maybe there's somebody, maybe it wasn't a writer, entertainment writer saying that. But he said it for years as racism because she never won #1 song. Yeah, there is some racism, but that shouldn't be. But they brought that up as a rant, as a take. I mean, it was going on for years, and that was a non-story. No one's really talking about that, and even this.
Why are random people, including random reporters, needlessly injecting themselves into this situation, again, to fabricate a conflict that doesn't exist?
Super last thing. Look, life is about...
It's not fabricated.
Perspectives, right? How
It's
you
not
view...
fabricated. There is racism. That's where they talk about racism in the country music industry. I mean, that's what the whole thing is.
Things, almost like a filter on Instagram, right? So the filter that they could have gone with instead here is they could have been like, oh my God, the song of a queer black woman is #1 in the country charts. Isn't that amazing? What a great day in America.
And
that would be equally true, wouldn't it? In fact, it would be more true.
And the fact that song in particular, the lyrics of that song, I mean, hit close to home for Americans across the country.
Yeah.
Right?
She got all Americans to relate to a queer black woman's plight. And now all of the country music fans are relating to it. That's a giant win. I'll take the win. Thank you. Thank you, Tracey Chapman, and thank you, Luke Combs.
Yeah. That's not the point, though, but that's not the point. It's a celebration, I guess. He's right. But the point is, they're pointing out the racism. She should have got the credit from the country, I guess, years ago. Many years ago, but that's their point. But they have a right to say what they do, to speak out. When they have an opinion, they have a right to say. You shouldn't say nothing. I mean, the organization, like I said, it's about I guess black country music entertainers or whatever. You have a right to say your opinion. And they speak it out against racism in country music, which is a big thing. Still a big thing in a way. But they have a right to speak out. Maybe it's not about Tracey Chapman really. It's about, I think that's what the point of, that's what they're speaking to. As for me, this point of TYT is going with the, it's like with the bike thing, the New York bike thing incident, and some other incidents. I mean, really, yeah. I was about to say the guy who killed on the subway, but that's a different thing. That's crime. That's another thing. But they're being triggered by that, especially Anna. This is not a big story. And the Grammys. And that was a non-story. Beyonce, somebody said Beyonce didn't win, could have been racism. maybe that's a non-story because I mean she won a lot of Grammys. So what if they write it? It's not gonna cause division. That's gonna cause division. I mean, among races, I guess they're they think Beyonce shouldn't be. Yeah, they'll cause division amongst races. Really, independent voters are gonna, or the independents are gonna care about this. This one, and I was about the so-called independent voters. I thought you guys are progressive. How about your base? Your base doesn't care about this. I mean, the left doesn't care about this. I mean, they care about the racism, but not the or something like this is like a culture war. Something like this. They don't care about being a rant, like a big deal. Make a big issue about it, saying it's reverse race, it's a racism. It's gonna cause. So how do you? So you tell them? It's like the trans issue, I guess, with the sports, and that's it. That's not a big deal. You're making that into a big. That's nothing. This is gonna cause making more awareness of it. It's making it more worse. When you bring this up, both cases with the trans sports and this is making it more of an issue, and you're making it worse. Especially having this take like that, you're making it worse for the cause, for black people, maybe for the trans people too. In that case, you're making it worse for them. I mean, you're making it a big story. It's a non-story. And this is a non-story. Anyways, I think this is it, folks. What else do they have to say?
Thanks for watching The Young Truth.
Yeah, that's it, folks. TYT is going on it's more like it's like a reverse racism theme to me. That's what it looks like. So if you say something racist, if you say something, I mean, if you point out something racist, then you're racist. If you're doing you're race baiting. That's the right wing call it. You're race baiting. You're race baiting, baby. Race baiting. Anyways, this is a long vid. I'm out.